The Stinger is finally balanced, and it's about time. This thing did not feel good to play against. Why should a 950 credit SMG rail me and my Vandal and full armor? Regardless, patch 6.02 is here, and with it comes a much needed balance change, game-breaking bug fixes, and some pretty good quality of life changes. Hopefully this patch hits just in time so that we won't be seeing any more Stinger force buys every round in the pro scene either. So, what did they do to the gun? Is it really dead? Well, let's hop into the patch notes for a closer look. While the Stinger isn't necessarily dead, it's just weaker. But with this change, there is another meta change on the horizon. After this patch, I'm putting good money on Killjoy receiving a nerf down the line. More on that later, but what I'm trying to say is that it's hard to keep up with these constant meta changes, but that's where we come in at SkillCapped. All of our coaches stay up to date on the current metas, relay them to you guys, you apply these concepts to your games, and win more. Whether it's through our online courses, 24/7 Ask a Pro Discord channel, or constantly updated library of VOD reviews, we make sure you're prepared. So stop wasting time and check us out at SkillCapped. We'll be waiting. So, what did they change to the Stinger? To start, they nerfed the damage fallout to try and reduce the range in which you could beam somebody. Previously, it was 27 damage per bullet, 0 to 20 meters, 25 damage per bullet, 25 meters plus. Now it's 27 damage per bullet, 0 to 15 meters, 23 damage per bullet, 15 meters plus. To be honest though, I don't think that was the issue with the weapon. If you crouch spray with it and have a good feeling for its recoil, you could take down someone with a full armor and a Vandal pretty easily from close range. I get it though, they don't want to totally gut the weapon, and in the patch notes, they mentioned how their main issue with the Stinger was that people were force buying with full armor every round, and this was a viable strategy. Every round felt like it was losable no matter what the enemy team economy was. Group up with your Stingers and become one big rolling death ball. So since this was their issue and not its accuracy, they decided to nerf the price instead. The Stinger now costs 1100 credits instead of 950. Now, if you lose pistol, don't plant the spike, and maybe get a kill, you can't force Stinger and full armor anymore. I mean, some of you could, but you'll have 0 utility and will probably lose. And if you do lose, your team's economy will be screwed, and the enemy team's economy will start to snowball. But if you did get the spike planted plus a couple of kills, your team could all still force Stingers, full armor, and some utility. Teams before the Stinger meta would force Spectres instead. With this in mind, I'm totally cool with this Stinger nerf despite it still being pretty accurate. By forcing this aggressively, you're taking a big risk with a big reward. If you can deathball with your Stingers and win the force round, you set your team up for an easy lead. Now, pistol round and round 2 become exciting and equally important, and full saving is a good option as well. Save your credits and make sure you have a strong full buy for round 3. Now, with this change, your team has multiple options no matter the outcome of pistol round. Do you force despite losing and not getting the spike down? Big risk, big reward. Force because you got the spike down, medium risk, big reward. Or do you take the safe route, try and make something out of nothing, and have a strong third buy? Low risk, low reward. With this Stinger nerf, all of these are viable options. But the Stinger isn't the only thing getting hit this patch, but high ping players are also getting nerfed. Feel free to pause the video and read what they said here in the patch notes. Here they explain their servers and how they work. And from here, we can start to understand why having high ping was sometimes an advantage in this game. They have a good summary of the changes they made to their servers listed below, which reads, they adjusted max server rewind limit down to 140 ms from 200 ms. If you only play in games where everyone's ping is low, you shouldn't even notice this change. In other cases, the impact from this change will be subtle, and most of you won't notice the difference. That being said, we expect to see the following changes in gameplay patterns. Playing against players with a high ping should feel less like you're getting shot after moving behind cover by a bullet fired earlier, but players playing with high ping may start to experience hit registration and accuracy. These behaviors already exist in Valorant, but we are shifting the needle for what we consider high ping to be less generous. We hope that this change reduces the frustration players feel when playing against high ping players and continues to minimize the impact of networking conditions on gameplay. Now, to be honest, I have pretty mixed feelings about this. I talk to Teets, and him and Casey duo all the time. He's from the East Coast and Casey's West Coast, and they always play on Illinois servers because Teets is a crybaby if he has bad ping, and Casey takes one for the team. So his ping is already bad when they duo together, and I'm sure they're not the only ones who are in a situation like this. If it really feels this much worse to play with high ping, you might see people queuing up together less and less. But, and this is a big but, have you ever played against players from other regions in your games? I personally have played against EU players on my team, and it is not fun. If you read about how Riot servers work, you'll know that playing against players with this high ping is not fun. You can't hold angles against these players, and like Riot said, it could feel like you got behind cover, but instead you got one-tapped. The inconsistency in playing against high ping players isn't fun, and I think that's what Riot is shooting for, consistency. So while this might hurt you high ping gamers out there, this might be better for the overall health of the game. Now the next part of this patch is all about various agent bug fixes, and these aren't just some small ones that no one really noticed in the first place. These are game changers. Potentially fixed bug with KO's 0 point not showing the correct enemies that it has suppressed. Fixed bug where Cypher's neutral theft would only reveal one time if he had been killed or the round had changed during a previous cast. Fixed a bug where Cypher's neural theft reveals would be interrupted when he was killed after it had been deployed. Pathfinding has been improved on Raze's boombot when chasing an enemy. It can now more consistently jump up small heights and will do so with smoother movement. Fixed a bug with Boombot C getting stuck in a wall and rapidly shaking while making a loud noise. It will now bounce off the wall per usual. Fixed a bug where Yoru's fake out would get stuck in midair in various locations. Now, I've never seen that last one in action, but it sounds pretty funny. The other changes though are big. In case you didn't know, KO's knife used to show inaccurate information. So you could tag all 5 people on your screen, but your teammates would only see that you tagged 4. This would create for big miscommunications through your team and could lose you rounds if you didn't recognize the glitch. Hopefully that's fixed now for you KO mains. And Cypher's bug fixes are huge. I'm a Cypher main and this would annoy the hell out of me. My ultimate is already pretty weak as it is, and the fact that it would occasionally not ping a second time or just not go off if I died was super frustrating. But after reading these patch notes, I feel a lot better as a Cypher main. Now as for Raze, I think we've all seen her boombot bug out from time to time, and boy is that thing loud and obnoxious, so I'm glad they fixed that. Its pathing is a bit better now though, so you should be able to squeeze some more value out of it. And I never knew about the Yoru bug, so that's just funny that even existed. But next in the patch notes, they talk about some small tweaks they made to Lotus. The doors were made even quieter, which is nice, but I think they need to lower the volume of that A-Link block. That thing's really loud. There were some other small changes too, but the main one is that it should feel much smoother going through the rotating doors. Before, people would get stuck, bounce all over the place, get random speed boosts, and it was a mess. So after this patch, Lotus should feel much smoother to play on. Now the last part of their patch notes might be the most interesting, and it's about voice comms. The last line talks about how they fixed a bug that caused voice chat to no longer function when disconnected from the internet for less than 30 seconds. Now if the internet is disconnected for 60 seconds or less, you will be able to reconnect to voice chat without having to relaunch the game. This is a huge quality of life fix that should make when you disconnect not so much of a hassle, just getting quick as you only have 60 seconds. But the interesting part is that in a different section, they talk about their voice evaluation beta. They talked a bit about this last year, but long story short, they're listening to your voice comms, so please don't say anything stupid. This feature helps weed out the toxic idiots who ruined rank for everyone. There's not much to say about it besides that they are now moving into a limited beta phase that will enhance our behavioral reports data collection capabilities and improve the impact of our comms-related behavioral interventions. So just be a normal human being. Don't be toxic, and you'll be fine. So 6.02 patch is a small one, but with it comes a lot of big changes to how the game's played. The Stinger isn't busted anymore. Some key agents got much needed fixes. Lotus feels smoother, and Riot is cleaning up ping issues and voice comms. This really feels like a true quality of life patch. Oh, and I'm calling it now. It was the Stinger this week, but Killjoy's ultimate is up next on the chopping block. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. Now, like I mentioned, Riot has constantly been throwing new metas at us. For some people, it's hard to keep up, but with a subscription to our site, you gain access to hundreds of hours of Radiant produced educational content, which will help you keep up. This also includes access to our Ask a Pro channel in our Discord, access to our library of coaching sessions where we've helped players that have similar problems as you, and so much more. No other service can offer you this much value, I promise. Now, head on over to SkillCapped.com and get started on your way to the rank that you deserve. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. We here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.